Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Asim. I'm working as DevOps engineer. Guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how we can set up the best monitoring and alerting solution provided by Robusta. So that solution we are going to set up on AWS EKS, which is the Kubernetes service provided by AWS. So what I've done, I've created a repo for you guys. This is the public repository. I'm going to simply clone this repo. First of all, we are going to set up the fresh EKS cluster on this AWS account. So this is the AWS account you see. Currently, we don't have any EKS cluster, and we are going to set up the latest version of our EKS cluster. So let me take a shell into a particular container. Once our EKS cluster is set up, so then we are going to proceed to our next step, which is the setup of Robusta. So let me exec into this container. So guys, the powerful Robusta not just give you the alerting, it is the very powerful solution as far as the monitoring is concerned. And I'm going to show you how we can see our application um, monitoring in our Robusta setup. And also I'm going to show you the persistent volumes. So in past, what I have done, I've set up the cluster right like Redis and other cluster RabbitMQ. So on that particular cluster, we have persistent volumes like Kafka. So all the videos you can find here regarding the RabbitMQ cluster, Kafka setup, right, on Kubernetes. So those have persistent volumes, which is the disk mounted with the containers, and we are going to monitor those, and also we will see the alerting system. So simply you need to clone this repo. First of all, first thing first, we need to set up our EKS cluster. So simply cd into this, and what you need to do, first of all, make this key dot shell executable and simply run it. What it does, it will create a key inside AWS. So I already have done that, so it is that's why it's giving me an error. But let me show you that the key section. So simply what you need to do, navigate to the EC2 section, and you will see that particular key with this script I've already set up. So navigate to the key pair section. You will see this key, and this key is I've set up in order to SSH into my worker nodes. So anyway, other thing, simply you need to source this. This has the name of EKS cluster. So simply you can update this according to your needs. So this is the one. So let me do Terraform init here. So this time, let me show you. I'm not setting up the backend because this is just a demo. So, and this is the sandbox environment. So what you need to do, for instance, if you want to set up, if I navigate to the main TF, you will see that this section is commented regarding the backend. So simply you need to uncomment this and update the buckets. So that's why I just I'm storing the state files locally here. The main focus of this demo is the monitoring and alerting solution, how we can set up the Robusta. So just I'm going to do Terraform init and do Terraform apply what we are going to do. Until then, I'm going to show you the stuff. So if I navigate back to this particular repo, you will see that have files regarding the EKS, but um, um, I mean, I have the main file, which is the readme.md, readme.md. So in this, I've added some of the useful links regarding and the official Robusta home and what we need to do once the EKS cluster is set up. We need to set up the EKS driver and some of the official links. You can um, scroll these and navigate to these. But by default, once the EKS cluster is set up, By default, CSI driver is not set up. So what I've done, I've created a script for you guys, and simply you need to run this script. Um, and definitely in that particular script, let me show you. So let it run. So we are going to provision the latest version of Terraform of EKS through Terraform, right? And the latest version today, in today's date, provided by AWS is the 1.24, and we are going to provision 3 nodes, right? So this is the official site, right? Guys, you can read the documentation. I've added the useful links as well. You can see the docs, and you can also log in to this by simply your Gmail account. So what I've done in past, I've done the testing with the kind cluster as well, with the EKS cluster as well. And if I navigate back to this section, so this is my kind cluster, which I've done testing locally, right? So with 3 nodes in kind cluster, and now we are going to set up the brand new setup for our demo, right? So this UI sends data back to platform Robusta Dev. It is totally up to us whether we want to send the data back to this UI. And guys, this is totally free up to as per my I mean information. I think till 50 nodes particular account can handle, and you can have 15 nodes per account. And in that particular account, you can add uh, multiple cluster as long as those cluster has should be equal to 50 nodes. So yeah, in fact, all this UI is free, but definitely some of the requirements or security reason where you don't want to send data back to this UI. This is also totally free and give you lot more analytics, and I mean very powerful, shows the health status regarding your cluster as well. So this is just the overview, and what we are doing here, we are going to set up our EKS cluster, right? And as I discussed, when you set up the fresh EKS cluster, the CSI driver, which is the container storage interface, is not set up by default, right? So this is the script, and the region I'm using the US East one, right? So you can read the documentation regarding the settings. For instance, the image used in provided by AWS. For instance, this is the repository for US East one. You see, this is the US East one. So according to your region, you can pick up the image, right? And you need to simply update this section for, I mean, I'm using the US East one. So I've updated it, simply run it. So this is the account ID. It is going to fetch the account ID in which we are going to use it. And then simply it is going to, I mean, update the role name and the policy attached to that particular script, right? So particular variable, right? So and then we are going to use the Helm upgrade to install the CSI driver, and it is going to create the service account. So and that particular service account, we have the OIDC enabled. So in previous videos, I've shown you how we can use that. Either you can set up the service account through the Terraform, but I've added a script for this demo to just set up this quickly. But in past, if you see, I've made videos regarding the Terraform EKS service accounts to set up the policies and everything you can do through Terraform as well. So other thing we need to do once the deployment of EKS cluster is finished, let me navigate back to the main repo. Then what we are going to do, if you navigate to the README MD, then we are going to set up the Robusta, right? And for that, if I click this installation.yaml, and we will be following all the steps. But what I've done, I've already added the documentation. So I think this is the best ever product I've seen so far, provided by Robusta, and the uh, great work done by Nathan and his team. I have some issues regarding the setting up of Robusta. So I've discussed them. They are really very supportive team, and really help me out to how we can set up. So after watching this tutorial, you will be in a position to quickly set up this. So what we are going to do, we are going to use Docker, as we have already, as a DevOps and SRE engineers or developers, Docker is available on almost all the machine. So we are going to do use the Docker. So these are the guys backends. So from the Kubernetes, it is going to syncs to these destinations. So there are a lot more destination now, like Slack, Teams, Kafka, Robusta UI, and Telegram. So um, Discord as well. So, okay, let it finish, and this will take a little time till finish. So, if I navigate back to the section, what we are going to do, um, we are going to clone this script. So, we are going to simply copy this guy, and this will through this we are going to download this particular script, right? So if you click this section Docker, we are actually following the same steps here, and we just need to make sure that Docker is running as a daemon, right? And excuse me. So we are going to clone the, we are going to download the script, and we are going to make an executable, and we will check the version of Robusta, and then we are going to set up this gen dash config. So this dash gen config is actually the set. It has the settings regarding I've mentioned here, is it has regarding setting regarding the Slack and Robusta UI. So we can, if we want to enable or disable, we can simply through the script, and I'm going to show you, but for this demo I've enabled it. I'm going to enable it and show it the showed you the version, I mean this version, which is the very powerful UI provided by them. So it is totally up to you whether you want to enable it or don't enable it, right? So, and the built-in powerful tools are going to be, which are the smartest tool set up already by Robusta. And you see, I have done the testing previously in my account in the alert section. So we are going to perform some of the testing as well. So I'm going to show you how the alerts are going to be coming, and we are going to set up the Slack as well. So in this demo, we are going to cover all that stuff. So guys, our setup is completed. If I navigate to this section, you see this cluster is with the latest version is set up, and if I navigate to the instance section, you see three nodes has been deployed. So that is it regarding the setup of EKS. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply import this cluster. So let it import this cluster on my host machine, and I'm going to import this cluster in Lens. So AWS EKS update view config. Dash name of the cluster is Cloud Geeks EKS Dev, and dash region is US East one. So okay, and if I do kubectl, I will get nodes. Okay, So simply open the lens and we should be able to see this cluster in our lens, and let me do that. And what I'm going to do, okay, if I navigate to this section, simply remove it. That was the point setup. So if you click this guy, um, it is going to, you see, contact that particular cluster and use that context. So currently you see we don't have any metrics regarding the setup because we don't have any Prometheus and all that setup. What we are going to do through Robusta, we are going to set up the Prometheus, and you will see all this section is going to be updated in few moments. And I'm going to show you the Grafana monitoring as well. And by default, when you set up the Robusta, it will set up the persistent volume. If you set up the Prometheus with a 100 gigabytes, so if I navigate back to that section, so okay, let me close the other stuff. So regarding the script, guys, I just need to tell you that I'm using the Windows environment. So I'm going to use the complete Linux environment, although I can use the container, but as the script provided by Robusta, so which needs Docker daemon as well. So I'm going to use the Ubuntu machine, and I'm going to take the shell into this particular machine, right? So let me do that, and we are going to see the stuff here as well. So okay, so navigate back to the section where we are going to follow our steps regarding the setup for that. Um, okay, I forget to install this CSI driver. So let me start the container again. So let me do that. So docker start sandbox. So I forget to install the CSI driver. So let me do that. So okay, sorry. I should just type start and do exec an interactive shell into this particular container, which is mounted on my MNT. So let's do that. Okay. So what you need to do is to make this guy executable CSI driver, right? And I've already described what it does. So let me show you in the debug mode as well. So let it run. So it is going to fetch the account ID, right? And it is going to create a policy, but it is giving us error because I again forget one thing is to actually import our cluster. AWS EKS update dash EKS update kube config. Name of the cluster is going to be Cloud Geeks EKS dev. Actually, I'm importing this cluster in the container. Previously, we have imported on the host machines, so that is why it is throwing the error. So let's simply import it, and if I do kubectl get nodes, I should be able to see my cluster, 3 nodes cluster with the latest version which we have spin up, through Terraform. So let it run again, and it will set it up all. And you see the error this time is regarding the policy because policy it has already set up because the credential was there. So the other error was it was unable to find the EKS cluster. So what it does, so if I navigate back to the section in the namespace, uh, click config, sorry, workloads, and if you navigate to the kube system and update the times, like, you see this has been done previously. All the pods has been deployed 7 minutes ago, but this is the latest stuff with 24 seconds ago. This is the CSI driver, which we need definitely, because once we set up our Robusta, it will set up the Prometheus with by default 100 gigabytes of storage. So let me show you the stuff in the values.yml. Um, so this is the values.yml. You see, this is the official Robusta GitHub repo. In this, we have the values.yml. So if you just simply scroll it down and instead of doing this, simply find it 100G. You see, this is the default storage I'm talking about. So that's why we need a CSI driver and along with the policy attached to that particular service account, right? So anyway, this is done now. I'm going to simply stop my container, right? So this is the sandbox container. I'm going to stop it and remove the Docker because it is going to be too much heavier for me, and we are, I mean, using the um, VMware as well. So that's why. Okay, so I'm going to take shell into this guy, and simply I'm going to do it from here. So that's all I need. And okay, if I do ls here, if I navigate to desktop, in desktop I've created directory Robusta, which is blank now. And if I do docker ps, right? So currently we don't have anything. Now we are going to set up the Robusta. So as I discussed, we are going to use the Docker daemon. So, but first we are going to set up our Slack and Robusta UI. So simply copy this guy and paste it here. So if I do ls, it is, you see, downloaded this particular script. For this particular script, you need to have Docker already, Docker daemon up and running, right? So simply copy this guy and check the version of this. And I'm going to actually showing you all the commands step by step, so to make sure that you can easily understand. And now we are going to do gen dash config, which is going to set up, which is going to ask questions. But before doing this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Control C, right? And I just wanna export this name of my cluster, right? So this cluster name is going to be available in that particular file, which is going to be automatically created after we answered all the question by this generated dash values.yml file. So let me simply export this. You can do without this exporting of cluster name. It's going to ask, but I'm going to simply export it to make sure that this is the cluster which I'm going to set up, right? And let me see from the UI. So previously I've done these testing. I'm going to set up the test number 10, right, this time. And I'm going to simply run this again, and it will ask me for the Slack setup. So, right, it is going to provide me this URL, and I'm going to simply copy this guy and simply, you see, this is my account setup. I have the privileges, and I'm going to paste it and press enter, and it is going to ask me to add to this Slack, and it is then going to ask me to allow the permission. You see, once this button is green, simply click this guy, and you see congratulations button, right? And it is then asking what channel I want to send the notification. So if I navigate back to this section, you see this is the alerts channel, and I'm going to simply type alerts. Then it is going to ask me, do I want MS Teams, Microsoft Team integration? I'm going to say no. And it is going to say you want to sync with the Robusta UI. You definitely say yes or no. It is totally up to you. So this time I'm going to say yes. And for login, you can simply log in with your Gmail account, right? Or Azure account. So I'm going to provide that. So previously I've done, I've set up many organization, but this time I'm going to say Cloud Geeks test number 10, which I've already shown you. So 9 tests I've done. You can give whatever name you want to give. So it is successfully registered, right? So as I discussed, we are going to use the predefined smart settings already defined by Robusta. The great setting they have done with a lot of research work. I just love this product. So simply, I'm going to use their setting regarding the Prometheus, and I'm going to say yes regarding the license agreements. And okay, you want to send reports to Robusta. I'm going to say yes. And if I do ls, you see, this is the generated values.yml. So it has the all the keys regarding my Slack and all the stuff. So now what we are going to do, if I navigate back to this section, so first of all, we are going to set up the cluster, and I'm going to create this in the monitoring namespace, right? So let me copy this. What it does, it is going to actually if I first of all, I just need to make sure that if I do kubectl get nodes, it is going to throw me an error. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up this AWS. I'm going to import the context AWS EKS update kubeconfig, right? Kubeconfig dash dash name of the cluster is Cloud Geeks EKS dev cluster, right? So, and the region is US East 1. So I just want to make sure that previous command is running to make sure everything is working regarding my cluster access. So I do have the admin access to this cluster, right? So I'm going to simply paste this Helm upgrade install command. What it does, it is going to create the monitoring namespace uh, in in our cluster, right? And if you see, if I navigate back to this section, if you navigate back to this lens section, right, in the namespaces, currently we don't have this monitoring namespace. So it is a fresh cluster. You will see shortly the namespace with the name monitoring is going to be available. So what it does, if I navigate, let me show you this stuff. So it is in the progress. So if we navigate back to this section, custom definition, you see what it does a few seconds ago, you see it has set up the alert manager configuration CRDs, which is the custom resource definition. So it has set up all the stuff for us. And shortly we are going to see the namespace. So if I navigate back to this namespace section, you will see shortly that particular namespace is going to be available. So if I navigate to the section Helm release section, this is the cube system, right? So currently we need to wait, right? And you see with the script, what we have done, we have set up the release. We have set up the CSI driver with the Helm. So that is why we are now seeing the release in the cube system, but shortly you see this monitoring namespace is available, and you will see that the installation regarding the Robusta is going to be available. If you navigate back to the pod section, you will see shortly the pods are going to be available. We will have by default the setting up of Prometheus, Grafana, Alert Manager, um, Robusta Runner, um, and one more Robusta forwarder is going to be available. So this is the Robusta forwarder and runner. You can check the logs regarding the setup, what we are going to do, and in case of any issues, you can simply check the logs. So, for instance, if I navigate to this section and if I click the log section, you will see it is going to show us that it is going to connect to that particular cluster namespace, and all that stuff is going to be available. But let me first of all show you the stuff that has been deployed. So everything is available. For instance, I just telling about the uh, regarding the persistent volume, right? So okay, let me find the okay, let me disclose stuff regarding Exhibit which I've opened. So these are the services which has been set up. I'm going to do the port forwarding to these as well. So these are the pods, these are the deployments, right? And okay, this is the storage sections that you see. This is the PVC, and through CSI driver which we have set up, it is now bound. And as I discussed, this is the 100 gigs which is going to be attached to our Prometheus pod. So if I navigate to the pod section, first of all, I need to show you the amazing stuff. What we're going, I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to do port forwarding to, let's say, navigate to the services section, right? Click the network and services. And if you check the 9090, and I'm going to do the port forwarding to our Prometheus, right? And I'm going to show you the stuff with the Prometheus section in the Prometheus section. So if you navigate to this section, targets, you see these all targets are up, and this is the service discovery. So, and this is the areas of alert, right? And also, I just need to show you the coolest thing with the UI, and let me show you the alert manager as well. So I'm going to port forward to this 9093, same on my host machine. So this is our alert manager, what we previously set up, through all the stuff with YAML files and all this stuff. It is going to, uh, set up in the matter of few minutes. And I just want to show you one more stuff before navigating to the this Grafana, right? So if I navigate back to this cluster, right, you see everything regarding the CPU, memory, pods, and because the Prometheus is set up perfectly, so you see that pods are there. For instance, if I click this pod, and you see I'm able to see even the Lens UI in the CPU, the memory, you see the network, because everything is set up so perfectly, so you don't have to do anything. So now I'm going to do the port forwarding to this guy, and okay, sorry, I need to navigate to this section, services, and I'm going to click this Grafana, and I'm going to do the port forwarding to do, although it is mapped to port 880, sorry, 80, but I'm going to just map to my host machine, which is of 3000. So by default, the password of user is admin, but admin is going to be failed here. We need to check the password. You see, this is the invalid. So simply what you need to need to do, simply scroll up, click the secret section, and there are a lot more stuff here. Simply type Grafana here, search bar, click this guy, scroll it down. If I do, you see this is the admin password and this is the admin user. So simply I'm going to copy this. This is the prom operator password, and navigate to this section and remove this guy, paste it here, you see, and click yes. So guys, this is the coolest stuff. And you see, if I navigate to this section, browse, and all the stuff regarding the dashboards are going to be available. So you see, this is the dashboard regarding our alert manager. Everything you will see is going to be perfectly available, and I'm going to try to quickly scroll all the dashboards. You see, this is the core DNS, and you will see and all the setup. So I'm not going to go in all the details, but I just want to show you what you will get almost with no, without zero configuration. You will get all this cool setup, right? So let me go to the third one, Grafana overview. Okay, sorry, I think we have done that. Go to the fourth one, which is the Kubernetes API. So you see all the cool dashboards are perfectly available, and you will see all the stuff, CPU, memory, and this is the fourth one. So navigate back to this Kubernetes compute resources section. So you see, this is the coolest stuff, almost with zero configuration. You're watching on the latest, EKS AWS cluster. This is the cluster monitoring, and we are going to also show you. I'm going to show you the application. For instance, let me just browse all the stuff, and then we are going to navigate to the persistent volume section. By default, it will have all that stuff. So this one is done. So if you click this pod section, and currently we don't have any stuff in the default namespace, navigate to the monitoring stuff. We are going to deploy our testing application in the default namespace later. Then I'm going to show you what we can see. But this is the stuff we have in our monitoring namespace. So you see all the stuff. You see these are the pods, what CPU usage requests, CPU percentages, all you will see here, and that is really cool regarding the setup. You see. Okay, so now I'm going to discard it and navigate back to the section. Okay, simply just browse it. Okay, and might be a need to check my network, but okay, now okay, let it. Let can navigate to the section and okay, navigate back to the browse. Okay, now we are back. So okay, okay. One thing regarding the persistent volume, guys. So these are so many dashboard, but one of the coolest thing you see in past, I've set up the clusters. So those clusters have persistent volumes, and I just told you. You see, this is the Prometheus persistent volume. Setup. You will see all the stuff regarding that volume usage and space shortly. So you will see all the stuff here. You see now I've just updated the time. So you see, as I discussed, that was a 100 gigs by default space. So this much space is utilized, and I'm going to show you how you can simply update the latest stuff. So what we are going to do, okay, and let me do that. So okay, if I navigate back to the section, for instance, to test our monitoring of the persistent volume. So let me simply copy this guy, and I just want to copy this guy and let it create from the this create this resource from this lens. Okay, and click this section, create a resource. I'm going to set up this resource in the default namespace. So create it, and what it does, it is going to create 4 gigs. So if I navigate to uh, it is going to spin up one pod, and that pod is going to be using that particular uh, I mean, you see it is spinning up, and if I navigate to the storage section, in the storage section, okay, persistent volume, you see this 4 gigs is bound, and you see this is the bound area, and this is the pod is now running. And if I navigate back to the section, okay, this area, and simply try to refresh, but it will take time, because in the last 5 minutes it is, you see it is setting up the data. So after 5 minutes we should be able to see our pod, and it is going to show us the persistent volume. With regard to that, you see guys, we have almost done the zero configuration, set up our container pod and all that stuff. But now I'm going to navigate to this default section. You see, um, this is the pod we have spin up shortly, and in the last 5 minutes, it is showing us that how much it has been used, and that is really cool regarding the UC monitoring. And if in case of any issues, I'm going to show you the stuff shortly, that how we will have our alerting stuff. So let me scroll it down, and you see, uh, once we set up this Robusta, it is going to welcome us, that welcome to the Slack monitoring, and shortly we will set up the alerting as well. So this is something regarding the powerful monitoring in the Grafana dashboard. So let me navigate back to the section. For instance, this is our application. Let's see. So okay, let me go back. So you see, this is the app pod. Okay, you see, and you will see the data with regard to that, how much it is going to utilize memory usage, and scroll it down at the, you see, pod level in the default namespace. But definitely data, as just we have spin up the pod, so shortly it is going to provide us the data. So these values are regarding to the nodes. So you see, if you click down, you see we can select all these three nodes, how much CPU utilization on those particular nodes. You see, these are the pods are running, and you see all the pods we will see. So this is our app. You see, we have deployed now available, and everything regarding the memory, CPU utilization. You will not even if you import the dashboard, default dashboards from the Grafana official, you will not see this sort of stuff by importing. So guys, I guess this is pretty much, guess, more than enough regarding the Grafana setup, and let's try to view one more stuff. You see, through the Prometheus, you see, and you can see the monitoring traffic and everything is going to be set up with no effort. So click this guy. So you see, this is our application CPU usage, and if you click this section, you see. Uh, This is our pod in our default namespace. CPU throttling, it is not, we don't have any data there. Memory usage of that particular pod, you see how much is has been used. So that is very cool. And the network, of course, definitely with the passage of time, you will see all these values are going to be updated. So now let's jump into the other section of our testing. So of this Robusta. So if you scroll it down, right, and okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to navigate to this section, Robusta demos, and for instance, I've added one more testing demo, which is provided by official Robusta. So I'm going to do the testing here. So simply, I'm going to apply this. It is going to apply this pod, which is the crashing pod. In the names in the default namespace, you will shortly see that this crashing pod is going to be crashed, and we should have alerts available regarding this particular pod in our Robusta. So we just wait for a while, and also you can see the logs regarding which I have discussed. So simply let me remove this section, and if I click this section, um, runner, and let's see. So you see we have one message, you see straight away that crashing pod in the default namespace, and it is actually providing the logs as well. It is providing the termination, reason, and restart count to 2. So that is very, very cool. So as I discussed with Robusta, you will get the default built-in um, playbooks, which are actually going to be really useful and set up in a professional way that um, your Slack channel is not going to be flooded, right? So that test is done. So let me navigate back to this Kubernetes demo section. We have done the crashport testing, and let's do one more test with the no such image, right? So I'm going to simply copy this guy and create a resource. So okay, create a resource, create it, navigate to the default names space section. So let's see what happened regarding this alert. So navigate back to the section. So let me remove the other stuff. You see we have one more message, and this image pull back off. You see deployment error. You see failed to pull image in a pod. So you see we once we have issues in our cluster setup, we are going to instantly get notified. And you see with Slack or other MS Team or Telegraph, you can set up on your mobile, and you will get instant notification what is happening in your cluster in production and dev. So these are a lot more tests, guys. You can definitely test, but this is the whole purpose to see. Let's say go for the home killed, which is out of memory. So uh, let's try to do one more test here, and then we will be near to closing this demo. So you will see the logs, you see the image pullback, unknown reason. It is going to, send to the UI as well. And if I navigate back to this section of UI and simply refresh it, because we have set up the number 10 cluster here, you see, you see crash pod, and if I navigate to the node section, it will show us the nodes and health of our cluster, you see, and everything is very cool as far as the dashboard is concerned, right? So what time event happened, event stream, and you can read all the detail as I discuss. Everything is not possible to cover in this demo, but is alerting and monitoring is a big field, but this is for almost, nothing. You will get the school features provided by Robusta. So, and you can set up the time here. Even you can do the silences of alerts. You can create one more, I mean, silence here. So you can do a lot more this stuff with uh, with this UI if you want to um, set up this backend for you, and it is totally up to you whether you want it or not. So let's try to create a one resource with the om kill, and let me do that. And let's try to create one more pod. So you see Om killed pod and out of memory, and shortly we should be able to see out of memory pod kill is going to be. We should have the alert available, right? So let's wait for a while. So navigate to the deployment section and move these other stuff. And also, I'm going to remove my app, which was regarding the persistent volume, right? So currently we do have a lot of memory in our clusters, so it might take a little time. So previously, but now it is actually now comes up. It is Om killed, and you see that that particular alert is generated, the node name, everything, how much node allocated memory is been used, and they are calling it memory eater, and you will see the cool graph regarding that, you see as well inside your um, Slack, right? So I guess now we are going to do the testing, the custom playbooks, right? And if you navigate back to this section, we have this values.yaml file. In this values.yaml file, I've added two triggers. For instance, if anything happen in the default namespace, for instance, deployment of image, and simply do a Slack alert, or if anything happen in the resource in the default namespace, any changes, alert us. But if you add this alert, it is going to really send too many alerts, which might not be your requirement. So what I've done, I've added this values dash deployment YAML in this particular thing. YAML file. I've added this resource. So, and let's try to simply, we need to update this. For instance, first of all, we need to create this file, values dash uh, deployment.yaml. So if I do ls here, currently we don't have this file. So let me do create this file. Simply, I need to copy the material here, and let me do that. I'm going to do save here. So we have this file, and if I navigate back to our main section, simply scroll it down. And what we are going to do, we are going to do Helm upgrade, uh, the same file, but this time what we are doing here, along with this generated values.yaml, we are going to use this file. So let's do that. It will take a little while. So if I navigate back to this section, right? So let me remove this home kill pod as well. Okay, and navigate to the monitoring section to navigate to the release section. You see, we have deployed 26 minutes ago, but what it does, it is going to update the this release to the newer version, which is going to be the version 2. You see, it is happening right now, and it is in progress. So navigate to this section, to the pods, scroll it down. You will see something is going to be happen here. You see, 3 seconds ago, uh, your job is been updated and something is going to be reflected. So um, you see in the changes in that particular logs section, in the runner section, you see some of the region is going to be available once we have updated. So, but definitely we need to check our release is updated or not. So let's do that. So it will take some time, guys. Okay, and what I'm going to do till then, I'm going to navigate to this section uh, where I'm going to create a resource, right? So I might be forget to add it. Let me add that. So guys, this will take this much time, right? And this release has been deployed successfully. Hopefully, I mean, these are the logs. So what I've done, I've navigated to the chat GPT and asked for to create the Kubernetes deployment YAML file. So this simple development file, I'm going to copy it and navigate to the section. I'm going to simply create a resource and paste it, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to update the image uh, here, right? So this is the image I want to use, right? So QuickBooks 2018, this is my public Docker repo. I'm going to use this screen dash latest. I have updated it and let's try to create a resource in the default namespace. And if I navigate back to this default namespace, right, and scroll it down to the pods, you see we have three replicas just few seconds ago has been deployed and it is a deployment, right? And um, okay, now what I'm going to do, navigate to this section. So the alert we have set up is regarding if in case of any image update, we should be able to see the alert. For instance, this is my production and I do the CI/CD here and in this namespace, and we have updated this new version of our application, and this namespace is updated. So you see, for instance, this is assume that this is the CI/CD process. The new version of our application has been deployed and we should able to see some of the alert. You see, this is the alerts we have regarding the deployment. YAML file has been updated, and you see this is the alert we are actually looking for. So you see what was previous. Previous was green, and it has been updated to blue. And similar stuff. If I navigate back to this section and navigate to the app section, we should be able to see our app. So try to refresh it. Okay, I just want to see the event in the last 15 minutes. That would be fine. So this is the example deployment, right? Look, just click it and click this section, right? And okay, so event stream, you see uh, some of the events we have seen in the section with the deployment updated. So let me do some of the detail. Click on this section and you see this previous image has been updated to this blue. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you like it and enjoyed it, and you can try in your environment. So for instance, we don't have the EKS cluster environment, what I have done, I've added the client cluster script. You can set up on your local machine. So simply what you need to do, you need to run this script on this Ubuntu VM. You can simply run this, and what it does, it is going to spin up the Docker kubectl Helm setup for you guys, and everything is going to be available the same stuff way you have set up. Thank you guys. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe the channel. Have a nice day.